This is the untold story of how a small-town athlete transformed into a global fitness icon. From the heartbreak of shattered dreams to the world's biggest bodybuilding stages. What does it take to rebuild your life after having your dreams shattered? When reflecting on his past, Cook has stated that his life has been deeply connected to physical fitness. It is perhaps for this reason that Steve's most notable achievements have been within the fitness industry. It's his passion, and it's in his blood. This is the story of Steve Cook. Stephen Cook was born on December 10, 1984, and raised in Boise, Idaho. The challenging terrain and abundant hiking trails became his backyard, igniting his passion for fitness, the passion that would later shape his career. Steve comes from a large family comprising of his parents and 6 other siblings. His father worked as a high school athletic director, who he lovingly describes as crazy, while little is known about his mother. In his formative years, Cook participated in various sports, including wrestling and track. At an early age of 10 years, he began lifting weights, mostly bench press and push-ups. He has since reminisced that his father, in a loving way, used to make him do push-ups whenever he wanted to hang out with his friends, or during a commercial break.
10, 11, 12, and if I ever wanted to do anything, hang out with friends, watch TV, I had to do push-ups. We were watching TV, commercial break would come on, okay, 50 push-ups. So besides coming from an athletic background, having a crazy dad helps in terms of, I say that with most love in my heart, I love my dad, but
His dad also used to make him run home in the rain when he failed to meet his 400-meter times, while he would follow alongside in his car, ensuring Steve's safety.
There was a couple times running at this track that I didn't make my time, and 8 years old, my dad saying, okay, you gotta run home then, and I would just be crying on the way home, running. The house is about 1.5 miles down the road, and it'd be at night, and I was 8 years old, and he wouldn't drive off without me. He'd drive on the side of the road, but he wouldn't let me get back in the car.
I realise that this doesn't particularly paint his father in a positive light, but Cook has consistently attributed his success to the high expectations his father set for him as a young buck. In high school, Steve started weightlifting more seriously, but this was to enhance his athletic performance, not necessarily with bodybuilding in mind. However, over time, his own physical transformation and the influence of icons like Arnold Schwarzenegger drew him towards the latter. This early introduction to weightlifting and calisthenics gave him a strong base for success in the sport of bodybuilding.
This is where I spent the majority of my high school time. If I would have put as much time in my classrooms as I had in here, I'd have been a straight A student, but I had football, fitness.
At a young age, Steve started smashing all weightlifting records and was quite talented at football. This talent later allowed Steve to play college football at Dixie State University, now Utah Tech University. He played as a linebacker for the NCAA Division II football team, the Dixie State Trailblazers. Academically, Cook started his bachelor's degree in integrated studies, focusing on biology and psychology. By the age of 21, Steve was married, yet, unfortunately, this was somewhat short-lived, as I'll explain later. Additionally, his dreams of playing professional football would come crashing down, compiling this distress. After realizing that his potential football career had come to an end, Steve began seeking new ways to grow and push himself. The discipline and perseverance instilled in Steve during his childhood shaped his mindset and commitment to excellence. This was amplified as Cook would also divorce that same year at the age of 23 and subsequently dropped out of college. Upon some self-reflection, Steve knew that he needed to make a change. After college, Cook worked as a waiter at Texas Roadhouse, but also systematically redirected his focus and attention towards bettering himself, mentally and physically. Now left without a competitive outlet, Steve turned to physique competitions as a new challenge. The intensity of heavy gym training and nutrition mirrored the demands of the sports field. For him, physique competitions became a natural extension of his passion for sports, keeping his competitive drive alive. This is where the journey truly started.
I grew up playing sports. I grew up standing here on fields like this, doing what I love to do. And after college football was over, after I was done on the campus aspect of it, I wanted to push myself in other areas. And I didn't really have that competitive outlet. I didn't have a way to push myself. And for me, the competing in the male physique category has been it.
At the age of 23, Steve was invited to participate in the Fit Body contest at the Boise Fit Expo. After securing the victory, he began seeking out additional competitions to participate in. Steve discovered the Muscle and Fitness Male Model Search competition in Las Vegas, which took place during the Olympia weekend of 2010. He dedicated himself to getting into peak physical condition while also finally completing his bachelor's degree. By the end of the contest, Steve emerged as the winner, and he was immediately thrust into the fitness industry. After winning the Muscle and Fitness Male Model Search in 2010, Steve quickly became the spokesmodel for bodybuilding.com and Optimum Nutrition. Over the following years, he intensified his training regimen and competed in the IFBB Championships. Later in 2010, Steve placed first in the ABFF Annual Gold's Classic Treasure Valley Natural Bodybuilding Fitness Figure and Bikini Championships. In 2011, Steve placed first in the NPC Ironman Magazine Naturally Bodybuilding Figure and Bikini Championships. Later that year, he would claim the bronze medal in the 2011 NPC Junior USA Championships and first in the NPC Junior National Championships. In 2012, Cook would place first in the IFBB Houston Pro, which was his most notable win thus far, but he wasn't finished. In 2013, he would step onto the most prestigious stage in the fitness world and would place 8th in the IFBB Olympia Weekend Men's Physique Division. In 2014, Cook would add another feather to his cap, winning the IFBB Dallas Pro. In what would be his last professional showing, Steve would place 5th in the 2014 Olympia, stepping away from the stage thereafter. Cook would place behind Jeremy Buendia, Sadiq Hadzovic, Jason Poston, and Matt Acton. Even though Steve placed 5th, this was a stacked lineup. Accordingly, this is widely considered his most impressive professional showing. In December of 2017, Steve Cook announced his departure from longtime sponsor Optimum Nutrition.
Bodybuilding.com, Optimum, I did 99% of my expos with Optimum over the course of the last, really, 7 years traveling the world with Optimum. And I'm no longer with them anymore. Thank you so much to Optimum for the opportunity that you guys gave me. I am no longer an Optimum Nutrition athlete.
Steve would sign with well-established fitness brand Gymshark, promoting their products alongside other influencers like David Lade, Uzoma Obalor, and Karina L, who you might recognize as Callum Vaughan Moger's girlfriend at the time. In 2019, at an event in Sydney, Australia, Steve met Australian gymnast and Gymshark athlete Morgan Rose Moroney. Soon after, they started dating, due in no small part to their shared interest in fitness. Cook also served as a coach on season 18 of The Biggest Loser on the USA Network, which aired in 2020 and gained mainstream attention. However, this was not reflected on his YouTube channel analytics. Due to, let's just say, travel restrictions, Steve and Morgan had to live long distance for a good amount of time. Distance did in fact make the heart grow fonder, as Steve proposed in Greece in 2021, and they have since married in May of 2022. The couple also welcomed their daughter, Harvey Rose Cook, on July 21st, 2024. Throughout his career, Steve has appeared on multiple magazine covers, including Muscle and Fitness and Iron Man. Steve also owns and operates a gym out of St. George, Utah, called Fitness Culture, which allows him to freely create content. He's also a co-owner of the Fitness Culture app, which features a comprehensive library of workout programs tailored for intermediate weightlifters and fitness enthusiasts. Cook's YouTube channel has amassed 1.25 million subscribers as of the time of writing. From what I can tell, Steve's YouTube channel has been on a downward trend with regards to video views since 2020 or so. In stark contrast to his peak in 2016 to 2019, where he was pulling between 1 million to 14 million views on his best performing videos, by 2020, Steve was now only pulling between 50,000 and 250,000 on most of his videos, apart from these statistical outliers. In this amount of time, Steve has since gone through his golf era, and most notably, his honesty era. There was always conjecture as to whether Cook was a fake natty. Well, actually, that's not entirely accurate. From memory, Steve never actually directly stated that he was a natural athlete. He just never really said that he was enhanced either. Well, the need for speculation was eliminated on August 18, 2023. In a video titled Coming Clean, Cook stated that he had signed on with a clinic due to his low test levels. From memory, it was sitting at around 345 or so. In a comment on that video, Steve stated that he was, quote, on TRT in 2016, the last year I competed. Where I'm currently at has nothing to do with taking. I took due to lifestyle factors, competing, staying lean for too long, stress, 15 plus expos a year for over 10 years. In my opinion, and this is purely speculation, it's also due to avid bike riding. This was somewhat confirmed in an interview with Unfiltered Extra. In a video published on the 1st of February 2024, Steve admitted that he used and to help him with contest preparation.
Yeah, I never really took, it was always, hard to help me get lean and retain size. And then it wasn't until even after I got done competing that it was like, okay, my testosterone's super low. And it was because some of the side effects of those other things started to shut down your natural testosterone.
Steve also states that he quit competing because he didn't want to commit to the heavier compounds required to compete in the sport.
And then as I got into the competing world, it came, into men's physique on that Olympia stage, it became very apparent early on that you're not going to be able to win these top level shows. It's not an even level playing field because there's guys that are taking 4 or 5 compounds. And that's inevitably when I decided to quit competing, because I felt like, if I'm doing all of this stuff to be competitive, I then lose my identity as someone who preaches health.
Even though his numbers have seemingly fell since his peak, Steve's presence in the fitness industry hasn't completely faded. While many of his peers have completely vanished, he's stayed consistent both in the gym and in life. I wish Steve and his family all the best for the future. Did you enjoy this video? Well then why not check out this playlist in which I discuss every Mr. Olympia contest. Or, alternatively, you can also mix things up. I also have a 50-minute documentary on the rise, fall and redemption of Bam Margera. But first, subscribe for more content like this.